It's nighttime. It's the right time somewhere. Welcome back to Love and Sex Stuff After Dark. Of course, I am Tim Geddes. I'm joined by the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Top of the evening to you, Tim.
Top of the evening to you as well. And joining us for the first time on this iteration of the show, live from Austin, Texas, it's Barbara Dunkelman.
Woo! Pew, 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 pew.
How you doing,
Thank you,
Barb?
guys. Thank you for having me.
Barb, is it nighttime in Austin? We don't know time differences.
Technically, yeah, it's 5 o'clock, 5:15.
Perfect.
How dark is
There
it
you go.
over there?
It's not quite dark.
Okay. Well, we'll get
Damn
there.
you, daylight savings.
Doesn't it work in our favor?
I have no idea.
now?
I don't
I'm not
know.
Sure. It's dark somewhere, but
I don't
we're about
like
to
that it
have a
works
great
in our
time.
favor half the year and half the year it works against us.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Dudes, I was just in Scotland. It gets dark there at like 3:30. And
Yeah.
it's the weirdest thing ever.
It's 'cause
Because
they
you're
like
like
to
out
drink
to
in
lunch
Scotland.
and then you leave and it's dark.
I don't
Yeah.
like that at all. I don't like it. I like it to be light until about 9 o'clock at night. That's what
Yeah.
I prefer.
Yeah.
And then in the
too.
morning, at 9 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch black outside. That's what I like.
That always throws me off.
I sleep like a baby.
Yeah, I
you
do
know what
like
I can't
that,
stand? It's like you can't. There's always a light just creeps in. Light finds
Yeah,
a way.
yeah.
Right? Creeps into my little eyeballs. I wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I hate it. Hate
Yeah.
it.
Barb, what's been going on with you? How's everything going?
Good. Rocking and rolling still at Rooster Teeth, making a lot of fun stuff. We've been working on a D&D podcast called Tales from the Stinky Dragon, which we've been loving doing. We have like a whole puppet series called Stinky Dragon Adventures, which is really fun. Available at stinkydragonpod.com if you want to check it out.
Love
There
it.
you go.
And then personally, I am betrothed now. I got
Yes.
engaged to Trevor, my fiance.
Love it.
In Scotland, actually, a few weeks ago.
Wow.
I'm
Congratulations.
so stoked for y'all. You are proof that love, sex, and stuff does in fact work.
Well,
it
I
can
mean-
lead to an engagement.
I don't want
All
to take. I don't want to take full credit for this,
I know,
Barb.
but you'll find a way.
But I will take 10 to 15% credit for this, just because I was around for a little bit of this relationship. And at some point, we did love and sex stuff together back in the day in Austin. Remember when Tim got burnt like he was on the surface of the sun? And I distinctly remember you saying, Nick.
I remember that vividly.
Yeah, I remember
Very
you saying
vivid.
something to the extent of, Nick, I like this Trevor guy. And I looked at him, I was like, he's okay. He's an okay guy. Now, I might have made all that up, but in my brain, it just is cool. And I like to take responsibility for that. And if you're thinking about having children and or a pet, please consider the name Nick. That is all.
Okay. Can't say I could guarantee that's gonna happen.
Okay. Just please
in any
for
way,
your
shape, or form,
consideration.
but it's a nice gesture.
You know when
Yeah.
when they try to get Academy Awards for movies, and you're like, you're not gonna win that fucking award. But they say for your consideration. What it's really saying is, please vote for me.
Yeah.
That's what it's saying. But
Yeah.
they never win.
Please name your kid
Or
Nick.
it's like what's it called when like you don't get an award or anything like that? And it's not runner up, but it's like
Honorable mention.
special honorable mention.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You'll get an honorable mention in the Trevor Barber household.
I've told anyone in this office, if you have a child and name it Nick, I pay for the birth of that child.
Pay for the birth.
I pay for the birth.
Oh my
I
god.
cover the hospital
What a
bills.
steal.
Hey, do you know how expensive childbearing is?
I
in
don't,
the
but I'm
United
sure it
States?
is bullshit.
I mean,
so.
it's probably that's $1.5 million right there out the door. That's a steal for you.
Oh, man. We are about to strap in for an amazing little time here hanging out with all of you. You could be part of the show. You can actually call in to ask us questions about love, sex, or stuff, and we'll do our best to help you out. But how are we going to do that? Well, of course, I got to introduce the master of ceremonies over there, Snowbike Mike.
Good evening, everyone. It's your boy, Snowbike Mike. And first off, B-Dunk. Congratulations to you and Trevor. You are amazing. And I'm so happy to see you both smiling. Of course, best friends
thanks,
out there.
man.
If you want to come and get involved, if you want some of your burning, loving questions answered by this incredible cast of characters on today's panel, please jump into our Discord. You can enter in to the voice chat over on that center stage. Raise your hand when you're ready, and we'll bring you up, and we'll have some fun. We'll talk about your questions, and we will work through it all here together. Of course, Nick, Barb, and Tim, I'll kick us off as we let people join in. Of course, this is ripped right out of the headlines. we have the hottest couple here on planet Earth running around the world together, globe-trotting. One Travis Kelce and one Taylor Swift. Miss T Swift just celebrated a birthday just yesterday. And so my question to all of you, and we'll evolve this a little bit more, is if you were Travis Kelce, where would you hold Taylor Swift's birthday?
Ooh.
What event, gala, what would you do for her? And I think this plays into well of maybe not your wife or your husband's birthday later on in the relationship, but where's a good first birthday to celebrate with a new relationship? Go.
You want to take this one?
You can take this one.
What's a good first birthday?
When
to
you're a
celebrate
mega
with
star.
someone? when you're the arguably the
Cheese.
biggest star
Yes.
on the planet right now. I feel like if you're us, any of us, Chuck E. Cheese or a round table pizza is always a great one.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're Travis and if you're Taylor, I feel like you just got to rent an island at that point, and you got to just have a place where you can do whatever you want, go wherever you want, and you know that there's not going to be any pictures taken of you that you don't want taken of you, unless they're taken by your significant other in an artful, of course, tasteful manner, Tim.
Yeah.
But if I were Travis, I'd be like, we're going to a Chuck E. Cheese. This sounds great. And just raid a Chuck E. Cheese and just see what happens. Bring like hella security, lock the doors, zombie apocalypse, because the kids are going to freak out.
Everyone's going to freak out.
The second Taylor Swift walks into a Chuck E. Cheese, you're going to hear that high-pitched scream that children do, the kind of scream that makes me think, God, I'm glad I don't have kids. I'm just so glad I don't have kids. Joey, I did see that Slack. I will buy you a puppy if you name it Little Nicky. But I feel like a Chuck E. Cheese is a good spot.
Yeah.
Take her someplace like, low key like that. Because what do you get for the person that has everything? I mean, she's Taylor Swift. She's a billionaire, for Christ's sake. What are you gonna get her? She can't get herself. A good time.
Yeah, I guess
Whack-a-mole.
that's true. Yeah, Barb. So you're thinking Chuck E. Cheese? Like, do you want to expound on that a little bit?
I mean, I did say that as a joke because you said first birthday party, which what I was thinking was like first, like number one birthday when you turn one.
First year.
My friends took me to Chuck E. Cheese for my 21st birthday. That was fun.
See, I think it's one of those things where it's like a parabola. Like it starts young and then it's like not acceptable when you're older, but then when you get to a certain age, it's definitely
There's an
acceptable.
irony. Yeah.
My Dee was like, for my 40th, she was like, what do you want to do? And I was teetering between having a party for everyone, a cocktail party for everyone, which we eventually had, or a pizza party.
Mm-hmm.
Because who doesn't like to go? If I said to you, Tim, Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
no nighttime bullshit. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you meet me at Dino's Pizza over in Pack Heights. It's you, me. We rent the little top area. Sorry, we only have 10 seats.
Too
So it's
bad.
just 10 of us, and we just frag some pizza and just throw a couple cold ones back, and then text Greg, sorry you're not here. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it would. What's hard about this is like there's so many factors at play of how famous they are and like how anything they do is like
Huge. They're the most famous couple
so
on the planet
famous.
right now.
They're so impossibly famous. So I feel like it being the birthday, it's like the funny thing is about the situation, no matter what happens, it's going to be chronicled and we're going to see how it all goes. Did it already happen? Did her birthday already pass?
Her
Or-
birthday was yesterday.
It was yesterday. So do we know what he ended up doing?
So yeah, the 13th, right?
Yes. We have not seen or heard of the official what happened yet.
I do like the idea of them going somewhere like they can go, or like that to be real. They should go to Mount Everest. They should be like privately flown to the top of Mount Everest. I don't know if that's possible.
I think you can fly to the top of Mount Everest during good weather conditions.
I
don't think
they
it's too
should do
high.
that, and then whoever's up there, because there's people up there, right?
A lot of
The
dead
people that
bodies.
actually, but the people that made it, they're up there. They all win the golden ticket to the chocolate factory.
Wow, they all
Yeah.
get to go.
They get invited
hang
to,
out to the
the
island?
birthday party. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then they take pictures of each other, so that way they own it all.
I mean,
Fuck
that-
the paparazzi.
Fair enough. I mean, that is Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, cannot be reached by helicopter. Okay, helicopters cannot fly Mount Everest top because the air is too, because the air is too thin.
Okay.
to
They'll
support
get
the way
to
around.
like the second highest peak of Mount Everest, and
Yeah.
then they'll
But
celebrate.
you go to
the
base
birthday
camp.
there.
Here's the thing: everyone's always wanted to climb Mount Everest. Get out of here with your pretentiousness. Just go to base camp, hang out. It's beautiful
Space
down there.
camp.
Base camp.
Fuck it. They
Space
should go to
camp would be
Space
the
camp.
Space
I
camp.
want Taylor
But space
and
camp
I
would
mean-
be another cool birthday.
yeah.
That's really what you do, right?
Zero G.
You wanna like blow her out of the water? You take her to space. You could do that now. Take her to space.
I think they could.
Let's
think
go.
they could.
Call up Jeff Bezos and say, hey, my girlfriend's a billionaire. I can't afford this, but she can. You drop the card. She's probably got one of those cool like Amex black cards that just has no limit. Drop the card, put 30, 40 million on that bad boy, and you go up to space. You find William Shatner up there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That sounds good. Mike, now that we're done with the warm-up question, do we have someone call it in?
Yes, we do, panelists. We have Mr. Hawks calling in right now, our first caller. Of course, I'll remind everybody as we bring Mr. Hawks up to speak that you can join our Discord right now. You can jump into the center stage, raise your hand when you're ready to ask your question, and we'll bring you up just like Mr. Hawks right now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mr. Hawks. How you doing?
I'm doing well, everyone. Hello, Tim. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Opa Scarpino.
Okay.
Hello.
Hope everyone's doing well today.
We are indeed. What can we
Good.
help you with, my friend?
Well, I just I wanted to call. I don't know if you guys remember the last episode. I was the one who called and said that I was going to wanted to kill myself a while back.
I recall.
But yeah, just wanted to call back and thank you guys. I know Roger's not there, but I want to thank him too. Just talking to you guys kind of, I don't know, just kicked me into full gear. Since then, I've spoken to a few therapists. Roger recommended journaling, and that's actually been really helpful, really great. So I just wanted to thank you guys and yeah, let you know. I actually have an appointment to get a very special tattoo next month on my hand.
Okay.
You guys may have seen it. It's a little like smiley face, usually next to the words "kind of funny."
Oh, okay.
I've seen pictures.
Heard of this before.
Well, Mr. Hawks,
so-
I'm so happy that you're calling here. I'm so happy that you seem to be in a better place. And yeah, like listening to some of the advice can actually work out. And that, yeah, Roger with the journaling thing, I do remember that. So yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, that the journaling has actually been really just kind of getting shit, on a page to see it in front of me. Helps kind of visualize what I'm thinking at times. So yeah, once again, thank you guys. I'm in a much better place. Meds are evened out. Meds are good. So yeah, keep being awesome.
Awesome.
I'm
Now-
very glad to hear that, man.
Now, past the sappy stuff, the real sex question.
Mhm.
What is the best genre of music to bang to, and why is it nu metal?
Interesting.
Great
Interesting.
question.
Tim,
So when you say new metal, like, what are you talking like Limp Bizkit?
Talking Limp Bizkit. Tim.
Okay,
Come on.
Just wanted to make sure.
well, first off,
You don't want a
The
limp
soft
biscuit
tones
when you're
of
trying to
one
bang,
Frederick
though.
Durst.
I'm pretty sure every Limp Bizkit song is about banging. So I guess that goes
did it all
kind of
for the
hand in hand.
nookie.
He really did, right? Chocolate covered starfish, all that jazz. I'm just an old school fan, right? I'm an old school like Enya,
Shut the fuck up, Nick.
Sade.
No, you're not.
I put a little
no,
Sade
no.
out there.
Are you really listening to Enya?
I'll throw
Is
some.
Enya the
And as my wife looks over, she just sees my golden goddess body disrobe in front of her, and then she goes, "What's on the
Man.
Netflix?" and just turns the TV back on.
Oh my god,
That's
that
how I
is
like to go.
that is
So because the
hilarious.
Enya reminds her of CD compilation commercials from the late 90s.
Yes, that's exactly why, and it's very
Okay.
nostalgic for her. We don't really put the music on when I'm doing anything. I like to stay focused. I get sidetracked a lot.
Just deep,
Yeah.
deep silence.
I mean, that's my thing too. Like being real, like I'm definitely not against the concept, and I have in my life done the deed to music. But I feel like it's been a very long time. I don't know that me and Gia have ever actively listened to music while
Yeah.
things were going down. I don't know that Limp Bizkit would be my go-to though if
No.
we were. But something with the rhythm. You need the rhythm to be going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can't be not too many switch ups. Like you know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be like a nice pacing to things. It can't just be all over the place.
Can't be like Stairway, where it starts real slow, then goes
Yeah.
real fast, then goes real slow. Actually, that might work.
Maybe
That might work.
Maybe.
That might work.
Yeah, Barb. What about you when it comes to music?
I'm the same as you guys. I'm not a music during banging kind of person. Usually because like when you're in the moment, you're not like, hold on one second, like let me just
Right.
get this, put it on. But also I just felt like like if the tempo is wrong and your tempo is different, it feels awkward.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm a no music person, or if you have to pick one song, you pick Digital Get Down by NSYNC.
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
And that
Good.
is just on
Great.
repeat.
Great.
Remember
Give her
a
a
couple
raise.
months ago?
Make him hurry up. You know what I mean?
Remember a couple months ago there was that Reddit thread that went viral of this guy would always put on this one song during sex, and it was like horrible. Does no one remember what I'm talking about here?
No.
Ooh, what about the hamster song? The one that's like
You could. That'd be hard.
I feel like maintaining an erection to that song would be pretty much impossible.
Seabat. Seabat is what they're saying.
Seabat.
Yeah, there was a whole Reddit thread of this woman that was like, hey, like, I don't remember the details, but my partner keeps putting this song on during sex, and like, it's driving me fucking insane. And it's like the most annoying song
I don't remember
ever
that.
of all
That's
time.
wild.
We'll have to look into it later. Yeah, thank you.
oh wow.
Today I fucked up. My 20-year-old female girlfriend of 2 years told me that the music that I play, 25-year-old male, during sex is weird and a major turnoff. And there's this whole fucking explanation about it. And Nick, I'll have to show you the song later. I don't want to get copyright claim for this.
Please
do. It's an offensively bad song.
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure you guys are probably good on copyright claims for today with Mike's stream. So
Can I just play a little bit of it?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Sure.
Let me jump to
Already
sorry.
awful. Oh God. Oh. That sounds like they're missing. Like,
Yeah. That sounds like a lot of rubber on rubber. Needs some lube in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's bad news.
So I think that's our answer is you don't need the music. You know what I mean? But nothing wrong with the music. Mike, let me toss to you real quick. What's your thoughts on the music situation?
I love a good love in this club. Make love in this club is my favorite. But I am a non-music guy. I
Good
like the
one.
grunts. I like the groans. I like the deep breathing. It's hot. You know what else is hot? More questions, and you can write in right now, or you can call in just like Mr. Hawks did. Thank you, Mr. Hawks, for calling
Glad
in
you're
and
doing
asking
better,
those
buddy.
questions. It is great to hear your voice, big dog. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you back here very, very soon. Let's bring up another incredible caller. We have on the line Ignacio Rojas.
Rojas.
I love the little circle.
Ignacio, talk to us.
Hello.
What's up, buddy?
Ignacio, what up?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are
We're
you?
well.
And it's super hot over here. I don't know if you guys know. It's weird how not many people know this, but Northern Hemisphere and Southern Hemisphere have the opposite seasons.
Correct.
Because it is colder for you guys. It is super hot over here. So I had my fan on. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, that's when we went to, if you remember, I went to Argentina a few years back, and we
Yep.
went during Christmas.
You coward
and we,
didn't want to come here.
and we said, well, there's a mountain. You were like, climb the mountain and come over to Chile. And I was like, I can't. That's too much. We did a
helicopters
horse
can't
ride. That
go
was
up
it.
there.
That was all we're going to do.
Yeah, sure.
It's a lot. That is a lot.
But it is a
Yeah.
wild thing when it's Christmas time and you're sun tanning out by a pool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is wild how for you guys, Christmas is synonymous with snow. Over here, it's always hot in Christmas.
That's rad.
Yeah, San Francisco,
Yeah.
just there's no rules. Like there's not
Yeah.
real seasons.
No.
So,
It just mists on you, then it's cold, and then it's swamp hot.
yeah, all in one
I
day.
don't like it.
So
I
Ignacio,
don't know,
what
some
you
say
got
it
going
is
on?
best season. So I have two questions that because of Barbara, I had one, but since Barbara is here, I had another option. So it is either tips for finding your first job, or since Barbara is here, I would like the female perspective on random guys approaching ladies to talk and stuff like that.
Barb, you want to start with that?
Let's start with that one.
Sure.
And then-
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it is kind of like a rethread of a question that I asked some time ago, but
Mhm.
I always have this problem about approaching ladies to talk to that I find like attractive, that I want to talk to, and because I always have that in my mind of, oh, girls don't want random guys approaching them and starting to talk to her. So Barbara, I would like your perspective on this. And the reason that I'm asking this is that I've been seeing this guy popping up on YouTube quite frequently right now, that it is
Liver King.
a guy just approaching girls at random situations and just talking to them, and how, I don't know how he does it, but he always ends up with the girl's number.
That's probably staged and or fake. Just be aware of that. Like a lot of the stuff you see
Yeah.
on TikTok or man on the street style stuff where the guy just happens to walk up to the most beautiful person you've ever seen in your life and they quote unquote hit it off. A lot of that shit's fake. So be weary of whatever you see pickup artist wise
I know.
online. Just letting
I
everyone know out there.
Panique.
Public service announcement. That shit's bullshit most of the time.
And on top of that, don't just walk up to women with cameras.
Oh, definitely don't do that.
No.
Unless you have a mic flag. That makes it legit.
No. Hate you so much. Barb, what's the real answer here?
So it's very dependent. I don't think there's a general rule of thumb for yes, you could do this, no, you shouldn't do this. I think there's some obvious things that make someone kind of saying without saying, like, I don't want to be spoken to. Like if they have headphones on, if they're at the gym, if they're like working at a coffee shop. Typically, like if someone's in the zone on some place or in something, I wouldn't try to approach that person necessarily. I think like maybe if you see someone at a coffee shop who like gets up to go order something, maybe you could approach them then and just be like, hey, I saw you sitting there. I thought you were cute. Like introduce yourself. And I think a lot of people go into it very intimidatingly, and kind of like with a sense of what they want to accomplish out of meeting that person, rather than just like being upfront of just like, hey, I thought you were cute. I just wanted to introduce myself without the kind of assumption that you want to get their number or go on a date. I think there's a lot of like pressure put on that first meeting a lot of the time. But then you're at a place like a bar or something that's like typically more, single people go out to drink. People are maybe not in relationships as often if they're like in a group. I would say like if there's a group of girls, especially like in a circle, don't approach that circle.
No.
Yeah.
They're
Don't
just
wave
to
off.
party together. But if like I think body language has a lot to do with it too. So if people are kind of standing more open, are like looking out to the crowd and clearly like interested in meeting people, then I'd say go for it. And I think don't be afraid of rejection as well. A lot of people just stop approaching people because they're so afraid of being told no, or like, sorry, I'm not interested, or I have a boyfriend, whatever the reasoning is. I think as long as you handle that with grace, I think, that's so much appreciated as a woman of getting approached by someone, rather than being like insulted or having like some negative response to you saying like, oh, sorry, I'm not interested, or like I'm taken, whatever it is. So I think you'll have a lot more confidence when you don't put that much pressure on yourself either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I also think too, and I think we've even like talked to you about this before in a previous episode.
It was, I asked this at some point before.
Yeah. But following up on even what Barb was saying there, I do feel like an important thing is like people don't owe others like a level of like response and things. And I feel like the onus is on you to make people feel comfortable. So if you go and have that conversation and it doesn't seem to be going your way, get out. Like, don't like lurk around the area. Like, don't like then turn the space that they're in. If it's like at a coffee shop or something, like if it's not going great, you made it weird. So now it's your time to leave. Like, don't just go sit back down and like,
correct.
be in their space. Like, have that moment. And if it doesn't go well, take that as like, okay, cool. I now need to kind of like own my, own the space of the situation and like not make it weird for the person because so.
Yeah, it's tough for me because I just generally, my advice would generally be don't do this. Don't just cold call. Don't cold approach someone. Most people out just, I don't know, picking up on signals for stuff like that. Like, I think that's incredibly important to be attuned to. But at the same time, like, I just think there's a time and a place for stuff like that. And I think if you have some friends that you're going out to a bar with and you meet up with a group of ladies that are also out at the bar, that's the time where you can strike up conversations with people. And I think that's appropriate there. But for the most part, if someone's at a coffee shop, a lot of people are staying with headphones, obviously. They don't want to be bothered. The gym, they don't want to be bothered. Just a general rule is probably err on the side of less like conservatism when it comes to striking up conversations with randos. But like I said, I think that's why I always say, like, I think everything's better. I think life is better as a team sport. If you have a bunch of guys that you're with and you're going out and you meet up with a bunch of other people, that to me, group settings like that are the time to introduce yourself, because that is, I think, the more socially acceptable times to do that. Parties, get social gatherings, dinners. If you don't know someone, obviously those are the times to be doing that. And that's my comfort level. I've never the pickup artist stuff. That shit was really hot when I was growing up. Like, there was always movies about pickup artists, and I was like, these guys are super cool. But it's like, you look at it in real life in the stark daylight, and you're like, this is creepy as fuck. So like, maybe just be aware of that.
Great question right there, Ignacio. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank
Save
you.
that part 2 for just a little bit. Come back into the line. We're going to pull up another caller right now to
Bye,
keep
Ignacio.
it going because we got people
Bye.
filling in and having some fun. Up next, we have a very special caller coming in. Welcome to the stage.
Hey!
Is it Craven?
Gentlemen, I
It's
have a
Craven.
quick one. It's
Okay.
topical. It's relevant. I would like your, opinions.
Can you state
Is
your name,
being
please?
rock hard a sexual act?
Okay. First off, who are we talking to again?
This is Craven Moorhead.
Okay, Craven Moorhead. That's
Craven
what we thought.
Moorhead.
That's what we thought.
Craven
Barb
Moorhead's a classic,
Great name.
kind of funny.
has
caller.
called in has had many voices.
Yeah.
Craven Moorhead. Often it used to sound a lot like Snowbike Mike before he started working here, and now it sounds a lot like our friend Washburn. But Tim, I'll let you answer that question first. Is that a sexual act, being rock hard?
Okay, look, I think that there's nuance to this. I think the real answer is it airs more yes than no.
Let's say 90-10.
Yeah, given any situation that we're talking about.
What if you're just waking up rock hard, though?
No,
Yeah,
so
but
that's
what
the-
were you doing, you sinful little boy, at night? What were you thinking about?
Yeah, no. That's natural. Shit happens. But I do think there's the context of are you alone versus are you with other people? I think things become sexual when there's other people around in a way that the onus is on you to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah. You got to start thinking about your mom or something weird like that. Just get it done. Get it down. Get
So
it
let's say
downtown.
we're combing this new Twitch TOS, right?
Yeah.
And I'm an artist and I'm drawing and I want to draw dicks. If
Sure.
you draw a hard dick, is that considered sexual?
Yes.
Does every dick drawn on Twitch have to be flaccid?
I mean,
Yes.
I would like Barb to chime in on this too, because I feel like I'm gonna say something I regret here, but I'll say this. I think a flaccid dick is creepier. I think it's creepy. Flaccid dicks. If you're drawing a flaccid dick, there's something wrong with you.
Barb?
I mean, I think you need a certain set of skill to draw a flaccid dick because that takes like the different skin
folds.
flaps and like knowing how skin folds on itself rather than just a rock hard penis.
You know, Barb, if I
mean,
remember correctly, one of the first videos we made together was how to draw a dick with Barbara Dunkelman.
we did.
On the
That's
Kind of
right.
Funny channel in like 2015.
I think I was like 26 when we did that. No, it must have been even earlier than that. I'm 34 now. I don't draw dicks anymore. I have grown up. I'm an adult now.
I love it.
Yeah, us too. There you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. Wink, wink. But
What's up, everybody?
the question of
Sorry, Kevin was just opening something. I think he was trying to find that video.
what's up, everybody? I see in the chat. I'm retired. That's the old me.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
she
this is it. Look how young I am.
I'm looking great.
Barb, you look exactly the same as you did 10 years ago. Who put the
Oh,
veins
thank
on it? Was
you.
that you?
That was her, dude. She's an artist.
I did. That's all me, baby.
Damn,
It
dude.
wasn't my best work. Say.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah. Thank you, Craven.
I don't know if I gave input, but yeah, I would say a hard dick is sexual. I guess like if you're in a situation with other people. If you're by yourself and it just like happens accidentally, I don't know how penises work. So I don't really know what causes it.
You're thinking about something. If that thing's in full salute, you've been thinking about something naughty.
But,
Not
like, doesn't it
necessarily.
happen to
When are you
just-
getting a
yeah, doesn't it
direction?
happen in other
Just
situations?
In general, when are you walking?
Morning situations.
Yeah, okay, morning. That is the thing, but that is also
That's it. That's the only.
That's the only
honestly,
thing.
that's the only one.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that's something that
Straight up.
fair enough. But I think that's not sexual. I guess that's true. It's more.
That's
just
the only
It's more
time,
just the
though.
fact that
I
you have
think
a lot of testosterone coursing through your
Craven,
bones.
we've touched on to, I think, the real answer to this question. The answer is yes, it is sexual. There's no time a dick is hard, and it's not, unless it's morning time.
Okay, but what if they're like, hey, we're casting
well,
a mold?
unless you're a child, right? Like when you're young, like when you're like a young boy, like you're hitting puberty and stuff like that, and like a teenage boy, don't you just like get erections
Yeah,
like
but
randomly?
that is sexual in nature, though, right? Like they're aroused. Like you're just getting aroused all the time because your body's going through puberty.
This is outside of my purview.
I don't know.
That
I
I'm
don't
not
know.
quite sure.
It's way outside of my purview.
Soft dicks only on Twitch art. We got it.
I
That's
think,
it. That's
yeah,
Thank you,
I
Craven
think that's
Moorhead.
generally
So
a good
topical,
rule
so
of thumb.
telling.
I'm glad that's what you took out of this answer.
Thank you to Craven for always calling in and keeping it fun and lively. Up next, we have another caller, and so many of you are calling in. I'll give you another reminder, of course. You can join our Discord right now. Jump down into the center stage. If you would like to answer or ask one of your burning questions, you can raise your hand. We'll pull you up just like our next caller, Jacob the Beard. Welcome in.
Hello, hello. How you guys doing?
What's up, Jacob the Beard? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be able to talk to you. I feel like I never was going to get this chance, so I was like, I got in quick, and I'll try not to take too much time because a lot of people want to talk. But
Perfect. What's going on?
So something cool happened to me recently, and I'm not sure how to proceed exactly.
Was it an erection in public?
Thankfully not. Thankfully not.
Good.
So
Just
cool.
clarify.
So to give a little bit of context, I haven't dated for a long time. Right now, I'm just kind of working on myself. I'm changing careers. I'm working on my mental health, physical health, all that,
Smart.
And I was planning to start trying to date again next year. But a cool thing happened where recently I, just posted my Spotify Wrapped on Instagram, as you do.
All in sync.
And a girl that I had a crush on in college messaged me about it because apparently I listen to a ton of Japanese music, and she also has been listening to more lately. So I was like, oh, this is a fun connection. So we've been going back and forth talking about music a lot the last week or so, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And so now I'm like, okay, do I just enjoy this, have a music friendship, or do I try to convert it to a normal friendship, and then do I try to convert that to more than that? The tricky thing is that I'm in Minnesota, she's in Michigan, so it's is this worth trying to upgrade the relationship, or just keep it how it is and then start dating around here next year? So that's what I've been thinking about.
I think I speak for the group when I say we're not sure how far Minnesota and Michigan are from each other. We don't know anything about geography. Am I wrong?
It's too far.
It's not that far.
Thank you, Nick. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. I'll take the bullet on that
They're
one.
They're both M's. That can't
Yeah,
be that far.
They're close. They put all the as it alphabetized. They put all the M's next to each other.
Holy shit. That is fun.
Just
Barb,
go across the water instead. It's so much faster.
you want to start this one off, Barb?
Yeah, sure. Again, all these situations are very nuanced, but I always think it's a good idea to, especially you never know what the reason they're reaching out for is. If they're interested in you, if they are just reaching out because they have a shared interest and they think it's cool, oh, someone who listens to similar music or music that I like. So it is hard to read that situation. I would say keep it chill. I think maybe respond to some of her stories, or leave comments on some of her stuff every now and then, not in an overwhelming kind of stalkery way, but in more of just I'm paying attention to what you're posting, and I'm trying to just connect with you more and maybe become friendly. And then maybe that will turn into an Instagram DM where you guys talk about these shared interests and kind of keep going from there. I'd say go in without being I'm gonna pursue this person. I think they like me. I want to make this into a potential relationship situation. I think, again, don't put that pressure on yourself. Maybe just, again, try to feel it out. See if she responds back, reciprocates the kind of interest in you. And yeah, just keep it vibing, start.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing is, over text, it's so hard to tell things,
Context,
right?
yeah.
And yeah, we have been,
Not
it
context.
has been direct messages. We've been going back and forth. And I was worried, am I starting all the conversations? But she's been coming to me with stuff and a lot of smiley faces. I'm like, what does that mean? So yeah, but you're right. I don't really know exactly if she is oh, this is a cool thing, or if she's more interested. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
I
say
will say if someone is maintaining, sorry.
No, go for it, Bob.
A bit of a delay here. If someone is reaching out to you also to start conversation, and also very much talking back and forth, and it's not you're pulling to have conversation with them, to me that's a good sign of there might be some interest there.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think I totally agree with Barb. I would say let this one naturally progress. And at the very least, you get a cool friend out of it that maybe when she comes to town or you go to town, you guys can hang out a little bit and see how that goes. I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, I feel like we're all on the money here. I think that the best part of this story is this happened without you seeking it out. It's just
I know, it's awesome.
While you're doing other stuff, this happened. Roll with that vibe. I feel don't strategize this. Don't try to turn it. You're already planning too much. I'd say just keep doing what you're doing. It seems to be working, and just keep doing this. Like, don't overthink it. Like, just have a good time. And I feel like that honestly is the best strategy there is. It's just keep it going. Like Barbara's saying, she's talking to you. That is the hardest part, is like getting that interest, getting some type of back and forth. You have the back and forth. Like, you have the thing you're looking for. Like, if you're trying to plan out, like, oh, we need to get married and we need to do all that. No. Just talking back and forth is a relationship. So what that relationship turns into, don't worry about that. See where it goes. I feel like you're actually in the best place possible right now. And in terms of dating next year and all that stuff, like, let's see where that all takes you. You know, like I feel like this might just be a really, whatever this turns into, I think you've already won. But I feel like just take this as an opportunity to like have good conversations and see what you learn from this that you take into your dating life next year, if anything. Or maybe this turns into something, maybe it doesn't. But just go for the ride. I think you're in a good place.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate it. I think that's the right thing to do. And it's definitely been a nice little confidence booster.
Oh, yeah.
Which has been great. So, yeah, trying to keep having fun.
Shout out to you for working on yourself and having goals and going out and get those. I think that's the kind of positive momentum everyone needs in their life. So that's great, man.
And I think the coolest thing about this too, in addition to you working on yourself and all that, that's great. But you also, while doing that, have passions and hobbies. Like, clearly you're putting yourself out there and your tastes, and people are responding to that. I feel like that is already, like, you now have someone you're talking to and a thing to talk about. So it's like, those are two of the hardest things, as opposed to, like we were talking a second ago about walking up to someone at a bar.
That's tough.
It's tough.
Yeah,
like,
no information.
So tough.
It's tough to have confidence when you're walking up to someone at a bar, but it is easy to have confidence when you're just kind of talking about things that you love on the internet, right? Or extolling the virtues of your passions. And having passions, I think, is...
And you have time to think of your responses and what you're going to say, because you
Yes.
Yep,
that
so
you can be charming and funny and yeah.
Last piece of advice I'll give on this one is, depending on how things go, be very careful about the platitudes and how much importance you put on you having a crush on her back in college or whatever it was. Like, your relationship with her now is a new relationship, and I feel like it can, as nice as that story is in your mind, I feel like more likely than not, it might be read the wrong way, and it could just be too much. So don't lie, don't be weird about it. But like, I also just think less is more when it comes to the past.
I would take the relationship as it is right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's something I was thinking about. I was like, do I mention that ever?
No.
But it's probably better to not. I think we're both different people. I mean, that was like 4 or 5 years ago at this point.
Totally.
So yeah, we're different now.
I don't see reason
mention
to.
it if you guys do start dating, like,
Maybe mention
further
it.
down the line,
yeah.
and like then for sure you can mention it then, because I think that'd be cute.
Totally.
Yeah. But last thing I'll say, just for any of the best friends listening, just to give them some encouragement, like me, like I said, I listen to Japanese music mostly, and it's, I don't know, I really enjoy it. I'm not ashamed about it, but I know it's like kind of niche. And it was just really encouraging to like put that out there and getting some, I was not just searching, other people also messaged me for like recommendations. Like, even if you're into some weird shit, put it out there. Other people might also be into the same weird shit, and you might meet somebody new.
I mean, just weird, obscure things, right? Stick with me, Tim. It's like starting a cult, right? Eventually, it could turn into Catholicism. You don't know. You don't know. Everything starts small.
Yeah. Only Nick.
You're not wrong.
Take it there. But thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Shout out to Jacob right there. My heart is melting because y'all killed that. And Jacob, congratulations, man. You got me. You're encouraging me to go out there and be a little bit more
Thanks, Mike. I love you, man.
Hey, you're the best, homie. Hey, thank you to everybody calling in. We are nearing the top of the hour, which means we're already halfway through another episode, and we are having so much fun with all of you. I got a bunch of callers on the line, and we're going to continue to tear through them right now. Up next, we got a little whisk.
Hello.
Ooh.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Hi. Well, super lovely to talk to all of you. I'm a big fan. But the big thing that I wanted to call in about is navigating the whole moving in process with a partner. So for context, my boyfriend and I have been dating for about 3 years now. And I previously, last year when our leases ended, I proposed it and he wasn't ready, which is, understandable. So I'm just trying to figure out how to go about it again at the end of our leases this year, because I want to bring it up again. And And after that past experience, I'm a little nervous about it. So I don't know how did you all kind of navigate that conversation and how that happened in your lives?
Nick, let's start with you on this one.
Oh wow, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about this. So when I was dating my now wife, I wanted to move in with her, but partially because I thought I was like terrified of getting married. So I was like, we'll just move in together, and then I'll just drag this out for as long as humanly possible. And she goes, she was like, I'm not gonna move in with you until we're ready to get serious, i.e., you're gonna ask me to marry, like we get engaged. And I'm like, why would you say that? She goes, because I've had guys try to move in with me and drag it out for as long as possible, never get married. I'm like, are you a mind reader? Get out of my head, lady. So for me, it required a lot more working on myself to kind of come to the conclusion of like leaving my singlehood behind and shedding that part of myself and moving on to what is now the best part of my life. But I would say honestly, open and honest communication, just putting out there what you want and being receptive to maybe your partner not necessarily wanting that again, and you all can try again in a year potentially. But I definitely think you have to broach the topic, and I think you owe it to yourself to do that because it's what you want.
Yeah, Barb, you and Trevor live together?
Yeah, we've lived together now for 5 years. We moved in together a year after starting to date, so it was pretty speedy. I have never lived with any significant other before in my life, so I am curious. I have a few questions. How long have you been dating, and how old are you guys?
We've been dating a little over 3 years, and we are both in our late-ish 20s.
Okay. It's a tough conversation because you hope that in any relationship you feel is a long-term relationship, there will be that next step, and usually the next step for a relationship like this is to move in together. And I think it's so important. It's vital that you live with a partner before entering into marriage or having kids or like anything else you see doing in the future, because if you're going to live with someone, there's a lot of factors that go into making like that relationship work, because there could be things that they do that annoy you when you live together, or like things that you just don't have the right chemistry with living together on. Like, oh, you get annoyed that they never take out the trash or they never put their dishes away or something like that, and it becomes just a point of contention between you two. So I don't know if your partner's maybe worried about something like that coming between you two. I know when I was dating a previous boyfriend, I kind of got the feeling he didn't want to move in with me. Like, he wasn't really committed to me. And so at one point I just asked him like, hey, like, I'm not asking to do this today or next year or even in like a few years, but do you ever want to live together? He said, I don't know. And that to me was like,
that's a no.
Okay, that probably means no. So I think at some point, if it's important to you and you feel like that's where you are and where you want to take the relationship to the next step, I think having that open conversation of just like, hey, like, I feel it's important that we live together. I would really like to live together and feel closer to you. And is that something you would ever be interested in? And if not, then let's talk through that and what that means.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. It's interesting because go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I actually have had a version of that conversation with him, and he said, essentially that it, like, in the future he thinks he could be comfortable with it, but he wasn't like he wasn't super clear about when that would be. So obviously, in my head, I'm like, well, it's never gonna happen, even though he expressed to me that it could. So I guess I'm more nervous about broaching it again, having talked about it the first time, and just, it's not that I would want to break up if he said no again, because we're both very committed to each other and love each other very much. But I guess this is important background. I have had a couple serious relationships before this. He has had none. And we've had many honest conversations about that, and I feel very comfortable, just in terms of both of our experiences. But sometimes I do wonder if it'll become a situation where I think, I'm ready for something and he isn't, partly because he hasn't had a lot of relationship experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It can be very intimidating. That's very intimidating.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, go for it.
So, is he someone who really likes his alone time? Because that, like, when I never lived with any significant other because I loved having my alone time. And I was worried if I moved in with someone, like, they would be around all the time. I would never have, like, time or space to myself. And so maybe that's something that, like, is in the back of his mind of just like, well, if we live together, that's gonna end all, like, types of essentially, like, personal space I have.
I think that's definitely part of it. And the also the other thing is we sleep really poorly together in a bed. Like we both are just really
Mm.
wild sleepers, you know, so we tend to wake each other up a lot.
Mm.
Um, which has never really been an issue when we've spent the night with each other before. You know, we just have learned to deal with it. But I think that's also a concern if it was suddenly going to be every night.
Speaking on that, just real quick, and obviously everybody's experience is different. I am a terrible sleeper, and I snore, and I have a hard time falling asleep and like
And you have the
staying
night
asleep, and
terrors.
like there's just a lot of stuff going on, and I was like deathly afraid of a day coming when I had to move in with somebody because I was like, this is just not gonna work. I'm a big guy. I like my space. I overheat really easily. I was like, I can't ever fathom sleeping with somebody every night. And now, I don't know, 7 years into living with Gia, like all of that, we figured it out. Like it just kind of like worked out in a way where like my body actually changed in a way that like ended up, all the things I was so concerned about, like a lot of them still exist, but they're not nearly as big of a problem. But I was so scared that they would be. Like it was something that was like clawing at me, thinking about of like, I'm worried about this is something that people, whoever I'm with, is just gonna have to deal with this about me. And that ended up not being true. It's a compromise that wasn't a choice. Maybe it was subconsciously. I don't know. But I do think it's important to put out that you change, and I feel like people allow you and kind of make you change in ways that you're not even thinking about. And I think an important thing to bring up too, you're saying 3 years in this relationship in your later 20s here. I know that this is annoying as hell to hear for a lot of people out there. The older you get, you're able to look back at younger years of people and like younger people and just be like, oh, you'll understand this when you're older. And there's nothing more infuriating than hearing that.
Roger.
But like, it is so crazy. The older I get, and I say this a lot, but having Nick ahead of me and like listening to him say things for over a decade now and just being like, I don't know if that's quite right, but whatever. And then every fucking time, like every time I get to a point in my life and I'm like, Nick was right. I hate saying it, but Nick was right.
I don't even like it.
And I think that the difference between being 20, being 23, 25, 27, and 30 it's huge. And I don't think you would think about it. And when you're in the moment, it doesn't necessarily feel like it. But when I look back at 10 years, like I'm 34 now, thinking back from 24 to now, there was like probably like three to five like major changes of just who I am and like how I think about stuff. And so having said that, I feel like you owe it to yourself and your partner to reopen this conversation through the lens of, hey, I know we talked about this before. It's very important to me. We're different people now. And I want to have a conversation with you in this era of our lives because it is important to me. And obviously the communication between us is important. And I feel like framing it that way might at least, I mean, it'll show him how serious you are about it. But also I feel like it kind of takes the onus off of it being like hey, I know we talked about this before. Did you change your mind? And it's more like, hey, how do you feel about it now? Because you're a different person now than you were then.
I would say definitely check in. Just a check in, a little check in. And 2 other pieces of advice: get the biggest bed you possibly can get. That's always a good one.
Yes,
and then
true.
if you are in a financial place where you can get a 2 or 3 bedroom or a house of some sort that has a yard, that's pretty clutch too. If you're talking about moving into a studio apartment, that's a little tougher. That's but to Barb's point, the space issue, having your own place you can go, even if it's just the room next door, makes a world of difference. I like to be able to sit in my little spare bedroom where I can game, hang out on my PC. My wife's watching whatever she's watching in there. Occasionally she laughs and I say, "What was that?" She's like, "You wouldn't get it. It's a Real Housewives thing. Tim would get it, but you wouldn't." And then we go about our business. So it's important. It is very, very important to have your own space.
That is very, very, very true.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. And that was all kind of stuff that I feel like part of me knew, but you also need to hear it from someone else sometime.
Yeah.
So thank you.
My last point on it, I think I don't know if I got this through or not, but I feel like for me, this exact conversation happened when I was in my like 27, 28, and it was just like the most intimidating thing ever. Right? Because what you're really saying is like, are you ready to take the next step in your life? And so just be aware of that. And if he's never done it before, obviously, like you might have to wear some kitten gloves when it comes to it. Or you might even have to do potentially. I mean, I'm always a big advocate of couples therapy, even if you're not necessarily having an issue with it, just to work through some problems. So just keep that in your back pocket. Of he's probably very, very terrified of this. So ease into it.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right.
Right on.
That's thank you guys so much. That was
Thanks
really
so much for calling.
Yeah, we
in.
appreciate you.
Thanks
Good
for your
luck.
support.
Yeah,
got
good luck.
this.
That's a big step. So I totally get it being an intimidating situation for both of you guys.
Maybe I'll call into the next Love Sex and Stuff with an update.
Let us literally. If when's your lease up?
End of next summer, pretty much.
Okay, I want the update.
Yeah.
I want to know how this goes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling in.
All else fails, just go move in with me, bitch.
Let's do it.
Great conversations all around everyone. You guys are so good, and all of our callers, you are incredible. I'm someone who snores a lot, so whenever I have a first time with someone, I usually stay up all night because then I don't want them to know that I snore. So, you know,
Like we know we've been to movies with you.
Just a mic move there. Up next, we have a very special caller. Jackson Day is calling in. Jackson, jump on in. Let's have some fun.
Jackson, 1 second, Jackson. Did you say you stay up all night, Mike, when you're on your first date, so the person doesn't hear you snore?
Yeah, so I have a very good tactic. I love rubbing your back. You know what I mean? Playing with your hair while we're cuddling, and then you fall asleep. I stay up all night. I'll rub your back, and I'll just kind of stare at the ceiling, and because I just don't want you to know that I snore like a banshee.
I used to when I used to go on first dates, I used to always, I don't know why, but I used to always have to poop around midnight. So I would just stay up all night so that I never had to do it and just hold it in. Because it's San Francisco, Tim, so like the walls are paper thin. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to the bathroom, even if I'm not trying to go, you eke out a little something, and I'm like, she's gonna think I'm a disgusting human being. I don't think I slept for the first 6 months of dating my wife. I don't think I slept at her house ever.
I love you guys so much. This is so stupid.
Sorry, Jackson.
No offense.
What's going on? What can we do for you?
Yeah, no worries. Long time, first time. I've listened to you guys since like freshman year of high school, and now I'm about to graduate with a video game degree.
Hell yeah,
like, doing creative directing on my own game and stuff.
Yeah,
so
congrats.
Thank you. My question is, I'm in my first kind of legit relationship, and she is just now getting back from a study abroad in Ireland. So we've been doing long distance for the first 6 months of our relationship. We've been friends for like 2 years now.
So wait, did the relationship start long distance, or did it just quickly get long distance?
It quickly got long distance. Okay. So we had like a weekend where we pretty much were like, we feel so strongly for each other, we can't not have you leave without saying something about it.
Awesome.
And so we've been doing long distance. I went and visited her in Ireland for like 2 weeks. Magical time. Me and Gary were actually talking. Gary will come up next, but we did the long distance scavenger hunt thing. So thank you so much. That was huge. I guess as we go into, for me, my final semester of college, she is kind of switching majors a little bit. We're a little worried, I guess, because like I said, I'm leading a game. I also have like student media responsibilities, where I have like my own little KindaFunny that I direct, and we're just unsure of how to go about like time wise. Obviously, we've made it work long distance where we catch up on the weekend, but as we eventually try to figure out timing in terms of how busy we both are and wanting to like spend a couple nights together throughout the week and trying to make sure that everything can keep going while our lives get absolutely crazy, we're both just a little unsure. So I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, you're in a spot where you guys are young and you're figuring everything out, and you're discovering sort of who you want to be at least for the next 5 to 10 years. So I think you got to give yourself that space first and foremost, because I always say, your early 20s specifically are the time that you should be working on yourself. If you have someone else in your relationship, you're in a relationship with, that's great. But at the end of the day, you have to start building equity in yourself, and you have to start building the foundation for what you're going to do later in life. But if you two are finding a healthy balance with that, my other suggestion is always just have a couple nights on the calendar or on the week that are date nights that just don't move. And Saturday is obviously the easy one, Saturday night. But I often say Wednesday. A Wednesday midweek date night is always great. And just don't move it. Just commit to it, because make it a top priority for you, and like your game and like everything else, it'll succeed. Barb, any advice?
Nice.
I mean, that was perfectly said, Nick. I agree 100%. Definitely prioritizing yourself, especially right now with going out into the world and discovering who you are and what you want to do. But I have also been in a long distance relationship with someone who definitely did not reciprocate the effort it took to be in a long distance relationship. And I think if you're both busy people, it almost makes it easier, because there's already an expectation of like, we're both busy, we're going to check in when we can. And I always think like making sure to be there for her when she needs you to be, in the important parts, and having those scheduled date nights, I think, could go a long way, because that's like, okay, we have this planned, we're going to make it special. And it kind of takes the pressure off of having to check in very often, all day, every day, if you know you have like this big event coming each week. Yeah, it's tough. Long distance is really rough. But I think as long as you both understand what you're going through, and the fact that you're both going through major life changes right now and are just there for each other, but don't put too much pressure on the relationship to be like, we need to talk X amount of hours a day, otherwise this isn't going to work. That's just going to be really unsustainable for you guys. I don't know if that answers the question at all. I think Nick did a good job with that.
Well, is she back now, or is she back in Ireland?
So yeah, she is actually on the plane now, coming back from Ireland. So we've already done the long distance.
So the
stuff.
long distance is done.
Oh, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
No
I
worries.
thought she was staying there for a while.
No, yeah. So that's gonna make it a little easier on the date night. For the date night. That's gonna make it a little easier.
But even then, though, I think that everything that they've said is still stands. Where having dedicated date nights, like, you don't need to overdo it. Just once a week, maybe twice a week. Just have times that's dedicated for each other. Maybe start with one, just once a week, and have this conversation with her and let her know, hey, every whatever day it is, let's do something together, and have that just be your kind of like ease in to kind of feel out where both of you are at in your new lives, like your new iteration of this life, where you guys are both busy. You're going to continue to be busy. You're figuring yourselves out, but you now need to figure out each other in a brand new way. And I feel like the best way to do that is by sitting and talking. And you need to answer the question to yourself of like, who do I want to be and what do I want to do and what's important to me time-wise? She needs to do that too, but you also need to do that together. So I feel like you're in a great place right now. Like, you've already gotten through the hard part, which is you made it work when she's not here. Making it work when she's here,
That's way easier.
You're gonna be so surprised at
100%.
how so much stuff you're worried about right now. It's like, don't overthink it. That's I think the best advice. Don't overthink it. Just have a good time. Y'all worked so hard for this point.
And by the way, when I mention date night, I don't mean it has to be like a big thing every single time. It's just a time, a marker during the week where you guys hang out with each other. Here's a perfect example. My wife and I had a date night last night. You know what we did? I made dinner. We ate together and watched 4 episodes of Slow Horses on Apple TV Plus, which is a phenomenal espionage show.
I thought you were gonna say Suits for a second.
No. That's long done. We're waiting for the revival to come back now, which hopefully
Figured
will
you're
be
doing
next
like
year.
the third rewatch or something.
No, I'm actually currently watching Frasier and Cheers. Thank you for asking.
But yeah.
So, is there also concern of like now incorporating each other into your guys' life? Like before, where it was long distance, it was kind of like you would slot in time wherever you could and try to connect whenever you could. But now that she's going to be there, it's like, oh, how do I incorporate this person into my everyday? Is that kind of like a thought that's going through your mind?
Yes, kind of, because before it was like, well, we have to deal with the 7-hour time difference, and usually that lined up with Tuesday, Thursday I had class that day, but then the rest of the days I could call and we could chat for like 30 minutes or something. I think both of us being on campus should help. I think we are alternating days, which we'll see. Like, I'm there Tuesday, Thursday, she's on campus Monday, Wednesday. So it's something like associating us with daily lives, I guess. Yeah, that is something that we're not entirely sure about as life gets pretty hectic.
You'll settle into a groove.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like with every piece of information you're giving us here, it's like just focus on what you need to get done and give her the space to focus on what she needs to get done. The rest of it's going to figure itself out so easily. Y'all sound like you're into each other. It doesn't sound like there's any problems or anything. So like, just don't overthink it. Just take it in. I think it's going to work out.
Bander in the live chat says date night this week was Chipotle and the new Ghibli movie. LOL. That's a great date
I
night.
just saw that. It's so good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's great. I'm excited. You're the first person I know that I've seen it. That's great.
Something too I might give you a heads up on, and this is not to like deter you from anything or to like make you weary of anything at all. But long distance relationships, often you get the best of both people because you only have so much time together, and when you do spend time together, you like really try to put your all into that time. Whereas if you're together in person, you're gonna also see the worst of people. And I think just being prepared for like, okay, like this is gonna get a lot more real now that we're together. You're gonna see a lot more of the real side of each other. And so just communicating, being patient with each other, and like getting to know each other on a whole nother level is going to be something that you guys go through, which is, I think, going to be great. But
yeah, honestly, I'm a little excited. That sounds, I mean, the negative side, maybe not, but, it'll be exciting.
What Barb's really trying to say is at some point, y'all going to have to poop in front of each other. It's going to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
This is going to have to happen.
You're going to have to fart in front of each
other. I
other.
guess I have to call it off then.
Nah. You're going to have to fart in front of each other. It's going to be rough, but you'll get through it.
All right. Well, good luck. Thank you so much for calling in.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for everything you guys do. It's always super helpful.
Thank you. Tim.
Yeah.
If I started using the phrase pass wind, how would you feel about that? Just to casually in the office, just dropping that in front of Roger. How would you feel?
Maybe like 10 minutes ago.
I'm passing wind.
I don't know what was going on here, but I swear to God, Mike just let one rip. But I don't
you
think
fart
he
over
did.
there, bro? You blowed it up over there?
I can't confirm or deny.
Mike shit is pissed.
I just heard a straight up toot over there.
Every once in a while, Michael let one go, and then I just hear.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all are killing it on today's episode. We have 45 minutes left, so we are going to continue to go through our callers. Up next, we have Gary coming onto the phone lines.
I hope it's Witta. Gary, what's up?
Oi, governor. No, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Too much to ask that Witta shows up after 4.
You had me going.
What's up, Tim? What's up, Barb? What's up, Nick? And shout out to Mike. Get that sleep apnea checked out. I just wanted to come here and give you guys a shout out because, like the past caller said, I also did that long distance scavenger hunt that you recommended. I called in for the last love and sex stuff. It was an awesome suggestion. I went over Halloween, which was around her birthday. She just moved into a new apartment, so I hit all the clues, and I filmed myself in her empty apartment, showing the first clue. And then I waited a few weeks till I was already gone, and sent it to her, and it worked out awesome. The kicker was, the kicker was the final was the present for. It was a Monopoly piece for McDonald's, free medium French fries, because they're still doing Monopoly in McDonald's in Canada.
That's rad.
It worked out awesome.
That's so rad.
Yeah,
I'm glad to hear it. That's awesome.
So just wanted to say a huge thank you. Yeah, that's all. And just to reiterate, I said this last time, but continue getting advice from you, because I actually proposed to this, my Irish wife, funny enough, the same kind of long distance we were doing before. But I proposed to her with suggestions from an April 2021 love and sex stuff suggestion. So
I love
keep them going. We'll
That's
keep
awesome.
we'll keep taking the suggestions. Really appreciate you guys.
I mean, as long as it's working. Nick is a great name for any future children and/or dogs. I'm just throwing it out there. That's my suggestion.
Good job.
I love it.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Take care, guys.
You too.
Yep.
Guys, of course, you can call in anytime over on our Discord, or you can write in if you're a little too shy to call in. I'll also take your write-ins. Yeah. And I have a write-in today from Lenasty. Writes in and says, so a situationship turned into a delusional ship. Did not end all right. And all of my friends are telling me to delete all our photos and playlists. And what the main question is, I really like the music she put me on, but every time I listen to them, it makes me sort of sad. But they keep releasing bops. We went to a concert together, and still I watch those concert videos a ton. Are my friends right that I should delete those videos / stop listening to that music, or will there be a time where I'll just forget the pain?
Oh, this is rough.
Yeah, it's a tough one. My first instinct is to say you might want to take a break from it if you are hurting, because I don't know that it's necessarily the most positive place for you to be mentally if you're kind of revisiting that over and over again. Having said that, you're probably mourning the loss of this relationship, so you probably need a little bit of comfort and a little tether to it. That it just kind of boils down to like how what's your enjoyment value versus pain value to this? Because if you're enjoying it 90% of the time and you just have a pang of nostalgia, well, guess what? That's probably always going to happen when you listen to this music, but it will be like a happy nostalgia 10 years from now. I would say, if it's superly bumming you out, just take a break for a few months, and until when you think about this person, they don't have the heartache isn't there anymore, and then you can go back to listen to the playlist.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I've had many situations in my life that were tied to music that I love that were then turn negative, and it sucks because like music brings me so much happiness. I'm really engaged with it, and to hear certain songs and just be like, man, I can't listen to this thing I used to love because it reminds me of this moment or this situation or whatever it was. But Nick's right. Time heals all wounds in this way that it's so damn corny to say, but my God, is it not true? That there's some songs that I remember like kind of having to run away from and just be like, I'm not going to listen to these ever again. I just can't. And then years pass, I can listen to them now. And it's a new frame of reference where I can begin to love anew and remember the good times, bad times. Just remember the times. You're not so much caught up in the feelings of it all. And nostalgia is a hell of a drug too, where you kind of reframe things, even when they're negative, into positive with the rose-tinted glasses sometimes. So I feel like that can enhance it. But it's a tough thing for you because, yeah, if you're going through this right now, you're going to want to just dive deep into your feels and just wallow in the sadness and all that stuff. There's a level of that being appropriate, and then there's a level where it gets too far. Just make sure you don't get there. So I would say you're probably already at that point to back off.
Barb, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, there's other music in the world I think that you could
well put.
spend your time with. I get it though, and I've been in this situation too where I had songs that I like inherently associate with previous relationships. And I think when it's fresh, it's very painful, and it sounds like that's what you're going through. Just listening to it or seeing these videos is just like an immediate reminder of this person and all the pain that you've gone through because of them or as a result of being with them. But as these guys said, time does truly heal. It sounds very cliche, but it's absolutely true. Now I hear these songs and like I might think like I don't really feel like listening to it because it kind of reminds me of that person. Like I'll just skip. But like if it starts to play or I hear it, kind of no big deal. So I think eventually you will get past it. I wouldn't torture yourself with trying to like push through these feelings if it's so, distinctly reminds you of this person in such a strong way. There's other music.
There's other music in the sea.
There's other music in the sea. Good point.
Mike, what else you got for us?
Great
buddy?
write-in. We have more callers, of course. It is currently 4:20.
Nice.
And we're having some fun with all of you. Don't forget to hit that Discord phone line right now and call in, just like DC Hard Rocker.
DC, what's up?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I know last time when I called in, it was a very unserious question, but this time I think we'll maybe do a complete 180.
Okay.
And take it in a more serious direction. And
I hope so.
This is something I've found myself lately thinking about more and more. And it's probably, Nick, you're probably is the only one on the panel that's actually older than me. Might think about it a little more, but it's kind of as time goes on, sort of feel like the marching of time forward and the clock ticking down. Sometimes you kind of sit and wonder, it's like, are the best years past? Am I kind of losing it? Like have I kind of missed a lot of opportunities to do some of the things I wanted to? And my question is like, do you find yourself ever thinking that? And if you do, how do you refocus and get yourself back on track?
I think they call that a midlife crisis. At least that's what my therapist called it. I think the best way to move forward is to. I think Mike told me this one time. Sylvester Stallone was quoted as saying, "Once you've climbed a mountain, look immediately. Once you've gotten to the top of the mountain, look for the next mountain to climb." And that's really where my mindset is. Right? Is that I think I'm at this point in my life, I'm probably the best I've ever been. Not because I'm the best physically or because I'm the tallest I've ever been or whatever. Just because I'm looking for goals. The next goal that I can accomplish at this stage in my life. And that gives me happiness and that gives me purpose and that gives me, the opportunity to bring a lot to my relationships, both with my wife and with my coworkers and with my friends. And so I do think it's natural for everyone to hit that point and go, wow, do I have less time on this planet than am I halfway through my life? How much more time do I have on this planet? But at the end of the day, you never know. It could end tomorrow. It could end 40 or 50 years from now. I got an uncle that's like 106 at this point, great uncle, which is crazy to think, right?
Is it really?
Yeah, it's wild.
Holy
My dad just
shit.
emailed me. He's like, happy birthday to Uncle Pat. I was like, Uncle Pat's still alive? He's 106, still crushing with the cake. But I think it's natural to have that moment and to look back. But remember, you've got all this great perspective now on life that you can bring to the next adventure. And there's always another adventure if you're looking for one.
Barb?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Barb, how do you feel?
This is a
Has
great
midlife crisis hit you yet? You're maybe
absolutely.
you're a third through the life, maybe.
Oh, hopefully less or more. Less.
More. No, less. You're less. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it happened when I turned 30 because for the first time I was like, my age starts with a 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never be in the 2 ever again, and it's just gonna keep going, and I can't stop it, and it is very scary. So I think like when that happened, I had a bit of an existential crisis. But I've done a lot of reading and thinking about this over the last few years, just about how time works and how we perceive time as human beings. I think there's so much emphasis on regret and then anxiety about the future. And I think that kind of reworking your mindset and frame of time of just like, all that exists is right now. That's the only thing that exists. Everything in the past has already happened. Everything in the future has yet to happen. So really all that exists is right now, and time just essentially flows through you. So I think there's, this, I don't really focus on like goals and milestones in my life. It's more of like, am I happy right now? What could I do to be happy right now? And I think there's a lot of this like emphasis on, oh, when I achieve this, I'll be happy. Or when I get here, I'll be happy. Or when I, next year when I get to go on vacation, I'll be happy. Instead of, well, am I happy right now? What could I do to make myself happy right now? So I would encourage you just to try to live in the moment as much as possible, as cliche as that sounds as well, because that's all that exists, and that's all you could really focus on. And living with regret is such a unfortunate situation, and I understand that, especially like when you compare yourself to other people. But in that sense, comparison is the thief of joy, and your life is your own. And all you could just do is try to be as happy as you can, do what you want to do in life, and that's it.
Yeah, it's such a bummer of a question, but I just feel like that it's life. Like I feel like everybody kind of goes through some level of this, maybe in different ways, maybe at different times. And there are kind of those tentpole moments, whether it's just getting out of college or turning 30 or when your friends around you are having kids. Like there's all these moments, or getting married or whatever it is. Anything that you can compare yourself against others is going to come with some level of, am I doing it right? Are they doing it right? Is there a right? Like, I don't really know. And yeah, it's you're not alone in feeling these feelings. And I feel like everybody feels them in some way. I think it is just like Barb's point about just being in the moment. Like that's difficult to do, but it is the right answer to like really try to do that. I am lucky enough that I haven't really needed to judge my life based on, oh, I'm 20 now, I'm 30 now, or whatever. Like turning 30 to me, just it happens. Like I didn't think about it really, like in the sense of it being anything different than any other birthday. But then in not doing that, I feel like I had this thing going for me for so long that I could say that without a shadow of a doubt, every year was better than the year before it. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing things right. And then last year happened. And I was like, oh, this is easily like the worst year of my life. Yeah. And like some of that was in my control. Some of it's not in my control. Some of it's just dealing with stuff. But it did really kind of kick my ass. And I don't think I've recovered from it, and I also don't think I ever fully will. But I do think that it, if anything, put an importance on the living in the moment and relationships and like, I don't know, tripling down on the things that make you happy. You know what I mean? And it's like that, even if it feels very selfish or even if it just feels like unnecessary or a waste of time, like I work really hard. I do a lot of work. I work a lot of hours. I do a lot of that stuff. Every once in a while, even when I have hella work to do, I'm like, I'm just going to sit down with my dog Toretto right now and just fucking cuddle him for the next 2 hours. I don't give a fuck that I have things I have to do because this brings me so much joy. And it's like, every time I do that, I'm like, this is the best decision I ever made. Like, it just immediately like reframes everything. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling now, but it's just like, I guess my point is, even the people that have it good, at any moment it can turn.
Well, I think is one of the sort of core tenets of being an adult, right? I think in your 20s, I think it's like a 80-20 relationship. Like 20% of your stuff is like, this sucks, and you're like, everything's great. 80% of the time, it's great. When you we've talked about this a lot. When you get to a certain age, you just have a moment where you're like, you got to take the good with the bad, and you got to find a way to be positive when that's happening and have goals that are still inspiring you, because you might have the best day of your life and then get in a car accident the next day.
Yep.
I mean, here's that's what happened to me. Like, it's happened to me before. It's happened to me again. Great Saturday, Sunday, we're ended. Whatever, you know what I mean? So, and that's just life. Life is mowing the lawn 1 second, and then someone's in the hospital the next second, and you got to take care of that because you're an adult. So just try to stay positive, try to find the next thing, and enjoy your life.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for all your perspective on it. It's nice to get perspective from other people. So
you also have the coolest accent ever. I just wanted to let you know that. I think we've talked before.
Thank you very much.
Where are you from again?
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, that's so badass.
We got a theme.
This is the Irish episode.
Irish,
yeah, this is the fighting Irish, the luck of the Irish. It's
Love
great.
it. Thank you for calling in.
Thank all of you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
you.
Thanks for your support.
It's a very, very common feeling. You're not alone in that. Just know that.
Thank you for a great call-in. I like to think to myself, I get better every day. I ran an impromptu half marathon just last week, and I could do anything I set my mind to.
How far did you get in that half marathon, Mike? How many miles did you get in that?
Half of the half marathon.
You got half the half marathon. I want the information on the Fitbit on that one, because I'm calling BS on that.
Barb, all you need to know is I laced up my sneakers and I ran, and they couldn't hold me back.
Hey, I'm proud of you.
God, you're the best, Barb. Let's jump in. We got another great call in right now. The great Spag is calling in. Spag, come on in here, my guy.
SP, what up? Hello.
Hey, can you hear me now?
We can indeed. How's it going?
Oh, it is going well. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic, I guess it's still afternoon over on the West Coast.
So far, so good. 4:31. Having a good time on this show.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I am calling with an update and a follow-up question.
Okay, wonderful. We spoke with you. We spoke with you last time, right? Yes.
Yeah. Me and my wife were having an old Friends with Benefits come up and visit. I was all sorts of nervous.
Right. How did it go?
Honestly, it was a great time. It was a lot of fun. I remembered why I liked this guy so much. It was a little awkward, a little nervous at first, but it was good. It was a great time. I took your guys' advice. We talked about everything like adults, used our words, and it was great. We're planning his next visit for, I don't know, spring.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Well,
Good
congratulations. That's so great. That's good to hear. Very positive.
Thank you. So that leads me to my follow-up question. He obviously lives further away. We don't get to see each other except when he comes to visit. And I'm trying to keep like the flirtiness and all of that going over text. And I have discovered I am more comfortable sending a naked picture of myself to this guy rather than like flirtily talking, sexting, anything of that nature. I do not know why. That is just the way I am.
Yeah.
I just help.
Yeah. I mean, Barb, feel free to chime in. I don't know if you have a perspective on this.
Yeah, what I'm guessing here is you feel almost more comfortable like throwing something out to him and then waiting for him to respond and kind of initiate that kind of speak. Rather than like
that's pretty
have a conversation.
right on.
Which I have definitely been in that situation before of just like, I'm gonna send you this thing, and then like I get to wait for your response, and you get to initiate this kind of discussion with me, rather than having to like come up with what to say and how to like come on to you. You like it allows them to do all the work in that situation.
Yeah,
Right.
I can do these things physically, but like speaking about them trips me up for some reason that I can't quite explain.
That's normal. I think like sexy talk is something that I think is really awkward to a lot of people, even though they're very sexual people, maybe in more action and more like physical or in person. But for some reason, like sexy talk and like sexting and all that stuff is sometimes really, it takes a different level of comfort and vulnerability that not everyone is good at or even cool doing. So
And I feel like it's also like a
that's
very
weird and all.
movie thing. Like, I bet if we were to, I'm not saying people don't do it because obviously they do, but I feel like if we were to poll like everyone in this building, any friends of ours that we have, and be like, do you do dirty talk or do you not? Really? I think the majority of people would be like, no.
I would be inclined to agree. I will say from my own experience, I flirt with my wife a lot. I send her flirty texts all the time, but they're never of a sexual nature. But they are they come from a place of just wanting to let her know that I'm yearning for the intimacy that she can provide for me. So what I would say is like they don't always have to be sexy. They don't always have to be this. Sometimes it's just okay to let him know that you're thinking about him, and I think there can be a level of intimacy there that might even go deeper than a sexualness, if that's something that you're comfortable with. So I don't think you need to feel necessarily like, hey, this has to be like the most turned on thing ever. I do think it's just a check in every once in a while, something silly, something fun. Keep it fun. You know, I don't think you have to keep it so intense. But I do think that he will probably like the nudes a lot too. I think that's probably okay as well. So you can't go wrong with that. I'll just say that, you know, from a guy's perspective.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with grabbing the low hanging fruit every so often, you know.
I mean, you know,
Nice.
Absolutely. I don't know if you, I was going to say, I don't know if you.
Like, where's they gonna go with this? Absolutely, yeah.
I was going to say some of us lower than others, but you know,
yeah.
Ayo. But
All
that's
right. Well, I'll figure it out just like I did in person. I will figure this out. Well, it's been fun reconnecting with him in any case.
yeah. I think you're connected. I think
You
just
got
keeping the
this.
connection is as simple as just talking every once in a while and sending a couple texts every once in a while. He trust me, he'll know. He'll understand what's going on.
Yeah.
He's not going to be like, oh,
I'm sure.
They
He'll
don't
be
need
like,
a
okay, well, you know, and that in and of itself, just let's put it this way: even the thought of him knowing that you're thinking about him in that way that's probably the sexiest possible thing. Right?
For sure.
Anything you're going to say is kind of secondary to that, so I wouldn't overthink it too much. When I used to date, when my wife and I were dating, if she said "Hey," I'd be like, "Oh, I know what that means. What's up? What's up?" You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like, what's
I'll
up?
take
How many Y's were on that head?
Exactly. And then sometimes it would become "Are you at the Trader Joe's?" ? Like, you know, but I mean, yeah, every once in a while it would be a sexy one, so that's always fun.
You could also read smut because that teaches some people how to dirty talk to some people.
Ooh.
Some good smutty.
That
books,
is a
if you're into
solid
that.
suggestion.
It really is.
I like that.
Because with that too, I feel like look,
Smut.
the best combination is when you're just having fun and like when it's like slight laughs, but then also it's like I'm into this if you're into this type thing and trying to find that like ground. So yeah, Barb, fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Right on.
It has taught me well.
Well, please, when we do this again, please feel free to call back and give us yet another update. And thanks for remembering us because that's a great end to that first story. So thank you for that.
Yeah, appreciate you guys as
Right on.
always.
Appreciate you back.
All right.
Enjoy the
Bye.
sexting.
I'm gonna read some smut tonight. Thank you for that.
Hell yeah.
It'll be my first time. I've
Mike,
never done
your
that.
smut's gonna be like Halo themed or something weird like
I
that.
don't know if you guys need some
Cortana and Master
suggestions.
Chief have to get on. Thank you all so much for calling in. We have about 20 minutes left, so we are going to bring up as many callers
Be
as
right back.
possible, but it has been a fantastic time with all of you. We're going to bring in Sedge up next. Sedge, come on in. Please introduce yourself as well. Hello, caller. You are on the line.
Hi, can you hear me?
What's up, Sedge? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Long time listener, as usual. First time caller.
Love it.
Barbara, watch a lot of Always Open. Love that show.
Yay, thank you.
Kind of funny, guys. Love y'all.
Thank you.
There's been a lot of love and sex stuff. I have love and sex questions. I have a stuff question.
Cool. Stuff me up.
It's mainly for Tim and Nick and Barbara, you too, because Rooster Teeth. I recently finished college, marketing degree, but as usual with a lot of people who don't really know what I want to do, I really like everything going on in the tech space and like new media, Kind of Funny, Rooster Teeth, all those types, IGN, all of that, but also sports. I'm just thinking, my question is, do you guys think that the way the landscape changes so frequently now with layoffs and like organizations shutting down, do you guys think that it's more worth it to try to do independent stuff at the moment, or try to go through one of these companies that seem to be a lot of them shutting down very quickly?
Oh, big question. Big question there. Let me start by saying it is a very different time now than it was 10 years ago, with the rise of the influencer before they were called influencers. Somehow it all kind of turned into this thing where what used to just be media or used to just be like comedians or whatever, at some point this influencer thing came along, where social media, like, the game has changed. And I think as that game changed, it affected so many different industries that you named in different ways. But I think one of the biggest ones was there was I would say the best advice possible in 2015 to 2018 was just get out there and do it. Just do the thing. That's the most important thing, is just doing it. Be consistent. Just do some stuff. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that there needs to be a real kind of stop and look at the landscape, like it sounds like you're doing, and be like, all right, what's the right move here? Because I would not say the right move right now is to go into games media. I think that is a very, 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 very likely way to be very sad. And that's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of where things are at. Doing something independently for yourself is always going to be a great answer and could turn into something big. But dude, it's a struggle, and it is so much work. And I think now more than ever, there used to be like, you need access to this thing to be able to make the content to allow yourself to even do it. That's just gone now. Everyone has this in their pocket. And while that was the case before, everyone now has a phone. Everyone now has access to platforms like CapCut and all this that you can just edit. They make it so easy for everyone to be an influencer that I feel that there's just more competition than ever. And that's even just as an independent person doing your own thing. So my best advice to you would be, try to think about what your skill set is and how do you fit in somewhere that's lower key. Like, don't try to be the star of the thing, because I feel like that's where most people get caught up. When I went to college for video production, like just entertainment and all that stuff, it was insane where like 95+% of the people were trying to get into sports. It was like, sports is like one of the most sought after things because a lot of people like it, you know? So I feel like for what you're talking about here, it sounds like you have a bunch of different interests. Just like look into the opportunities available for all of those. But
yeah, correct.
But yeah, try to jump in on getting in the door at this point, I think, is the most important part. Don't worry about the end goal. Just worry about step one. Barb?
Yeah, I think especially in marketing, but really any industry and any job, I think one of the most important things you could have are connections. And I think starting out right after graduating, or, you know, whatever kind of status you have right now, I think I agree with you, Tim. I think it's important just to get your foot in the door and start meeting people. Not every job you're going to have is going to be the job. It's just going to be a job. And sometimes that's important just to make those connections, learn the industry, learn more about, you know, your focus. And then you could kind of go from there and meet people and maybe find new opportunity that way. I think a lot of people right out of college think like, oh, I want to find my dream job, or I really want to work in sports or in gaming. And so I won't settle for anything other than those two, which I think could be really tough. And sometimes it is a matter of settling for a good enough job just to kind of get you in the door and to meet people and to get used to a job and having, you know, a 9 to 5, which is could be a very jarring thing. But I will say too, which is kind of counterintuitive to the point I just made. I think with marketing especially, it's important for you to be in a place that you actually care about the company that you're doing the marketing for. And I know, like, speaking of someone who used to do social media, it's so much easier to market and to talk about a company that you actually care about and you actually invested in. So, kind of two minds there, but it's tough. And I would say, like, why not both? Like, if you want to go into a field or a job that you maybe isn't focused on what you want to be doing forever, while also working on your independent project, that's always a possibility.
Yeah, something Barb was saying that I really want to triple down on is literally just having real job experience puts you in a category that I think as life goes on gets more and more like rare in our space, at least. And the difference between somebody that had to work on a team before and people that didn't, it's night and day. And I like professionally, the amount of people that I have to work with through partnerships or just like business things or whatever, I am just shocked at the clear-cut difference between, oh, you understand how to communicate and talk up and down and sideways and everything within a team versus the people that like haven't had that experience. It is so important, and I think that is something that is so underrated. So just getting in there, just doing a job, I think is going to put you ahead for the next step so much better than maybe even like trying to do the independent thing at this point.
Agreed.
Oh, thank you guys. No, yeah, that's what I've kind of been doing. Been doing a low-key job for the last year since I graduated, just to try to get used to the whole 9-to-5 thing. And it's around my skill set, so I'm trying to improve that. But yeah, just pretty much kind of like reaffirms the way I've been thinking about it. And yeah, unfortunately, the gaming industry doesn't seem like the hottest thing to hop into right now. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks for the advice. I'm going to keep listening to you guys. Nick, I love Suits. I think you're onto something here.
What else do you need to know? At this point, you've got all the tools you need to succeed in life, my friends.
Exactly. After 5 seasons, the show did get repetitive, and I stopped. But it's a great show.
We don't talk about the last 2 seasons. We don't talk about Pearson either. We don't talk about either of those shows.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Appreciate all the help.
Right on. Good luck.
Thank you.
Great call-in right there. Let's keep it going. We have 15 more minutes left, and we have plenty of callers on the line. Dear Sixlet, you're up next.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, glad to be here. Been a KindaFunny best friend for 4 years. Been a Rooster Teeth fan since Ruby Volume 2. Volume 9 was excellent. Congrats on the engagement, BT Dubs. And Mike, super excited for Chain of Memories tomorrow.
Hell yeah. I love hearing your voice. I see your name all the time in the chat, and I know you write in the super chats and everything, so it's great to hear you.
Oh, for sure. And also sending new gifts on Pokemon Go.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Who could forget?
So I've got kind of a love and stuff question. It's a bit of a bummer, though. Is that okay?
If we
Absolutely.
All right. So I have had a best friend for about 10 years. It was long distance, and we've closed that distance and gone separate again. But like, we're still always chatting online when we're separate, and like we love each other so much. We are each other's best friend. The problem is, she had a traumatic incident when she was young, and by unfortunate cosmic coincidence, I have a very, very similar face to the person who perpetrated it. And that's caused discomfort at sometimes, if not some mild PTSD. I'm not asking to solve her trauma. I'm just asking for like help with coping with something I can't help, because that person in the future wound up ruining my face for my best friend.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Is your best friend seeing a therapist about this or talking to anyone about this? Or have you encouraged them to do that?
I have. Yeah, insurance is hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, trust me, I know on that one. But yeah, hopefully they can find someone they can talk to, because I think, not to sideline your experience, because I do want to pay respect to that, but I do think that solving this problem is processing and working through that past trauma to some degree on your friend's side. I don't know that there's necessarily a solution for you on this one, unfortunately. But I do think that the most important thing you can do is continue to be there for your friend and encourage them to get the help that they might need to sort through this, because that's what friends should do. This is a bummer, though. I'm sorry to hear that. This is a tough situation that you're in.
Yeah. And again, sorry to harsh vibes.
No, not at all. It's
Not at all.
important stuff. But
yeah, sometimes it's just been hard to like, because like I do want to be there for her and help her and stuff, and like we have said for years, like we want to be in the retirement home together.
You want like the Golden Girls? That's gonna be me and Jen, like the Golden Girls.
Yeah. I mean,
I would watch that sitcom.
me, Tim, Greg, and Kevin, and like the Golden Girls, just sitting in a house in Florida and moo-moos.
Oh, yeah.
I'd watch that too.
Thank you for being a trog.
Yes.
Thank you for being
Yeah, man, that
a trog.
it's so rough. But I mean, look, it sounds like your head and heart are in the right place on this, and I feel like being there for her in whatever way she needs is the most important part. And it sounds like you're doing that. That is it can be difficult for you because obviously this doesn't sound like the ideal situation to just be able to be there for your friend. But I do think that it's important to not get down about it, even though it is very worth being down about. It is a very sad situation, but I think that you are being a very good friend and a very strong person, being there for her in the way that she needs you to be there for her. And it sounds like you, just given the fall of life at this point, it sounds like you're not physically in the same space with her, so at least that eases up some of the potential issue here. And if y'all are still communicating, like every relationship, every friendship is different. And I mean, we know through so many different situations here, like you can have friendships like via text. You know what I mean? Like I have so many friendships with people that I see maybe once every couple of years, but like we are very close friends just because we're in a group chat, you know? So to the best of your abilities, I'd say don't let this get you down as much as possible.
Yeah. We haven't seen each other in about 5 years. This year she moved to Australia to be with her long distance girlfriend. I'm going to go visit in a couple months, hopefully. Tax refund, hopefully paying for that airline flight. But yeah, we're both looking forward to seeing each other again after so long. And I'm hoping it's going to be a great time together because we've lived together for like a long time during our friendship too. And it wasn't like every day something bad was happening. It was sometimes it was flashes.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, it's very unfortunate, but I would say be mindful of how this is affecting you as well, right? If this is a situation that's not good for you, well, that's not good either. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being with saying, hey, you got to take care of yourself a little bit here too. So if that's a situation you find yourself in where you're like, well, I'll just hang in here and feel horrible because for my friend's sake, well, that's not necessarily great either. So I would go in expecting everything to be fun and great and a good positive experience and then deal with what if it pops up, I would say. But go in with a positive mindset.
Okay. Thank you all so much. It was nice talking to you guys for the first time.
Of course. Sorry we couldn't help more, but definitely encourage your friend to get some help if she can do it, if she can swing it. I think it's very important to talk
Of course. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We
It's
have
tough,
10
man.
minutes
I'm
left.
sorry.
We have another caller on the line. Let's see where we go. Maybe we'll do one, maybe we'll do two. No promises, but 10 minutes left. Average Joe, you're up now.
I like that Mike's getting lower in the frame, but his hair's getting higher.
B-Dunk, what you
How's
think
it
about
going,
this
guys?
hair? What you think about this hair, B-Dunk? Let me shake it for her.
I love it. I love it. It's my favorite look yet.
Oh, you're the best, BD.
How's it going, guys?
What's up? How you doing?
Hey.
I'm doing good, man. I just wanted to say first off, I've been listening to you guys since I was 10 years old. And
sorry.
I was insane. I'm 23 now, or 24. My apologies.
Wow, that's bonkers.
So yeah, I just wanted to appreciate you guys for everything you do. So yeah, my question is sorry about that, but yeah, so I just graduated college last year in broadcasting.
Yeah. Congrats.
And I got a job. I live in Canada, but I got a job in BC. I used to live in Ontario. The job I'm at, I currently don't like right now. I'm just in a very small town. It's screwing up with my mental health and everything.
I have looked for jobs back in Ontario, where I'm from. My family and my friends are closer there. But my girlfriend, who I've moved up here with and I've been with for 3 years, doesn't want to move back at all. And whenever I've brought up this conversation to her, she just it gets messy. It leads to a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just wondering if you guys have been in maybe a similar situation.
Yes, I have. And unfortunately, it did not work out between the two of us. I actually was dating someone before I got the job at IGN that brought me to Northern California. And thankfully, our relationship was a bit on the newer side. So for me, there wasn't even a choice. It was my future or a relationship that, had started maybe 6 months prior. And it wasn't a choice for me at all. I made the decision the second Frank got off his duff and offered me the job 6 months after I interviewed for it. But I think this kind of goes back to what we're always talking about, which is that, you're in that part of your life where you really do need to invest in yourself. And it's difficult to do that when you have a relationship. Not to say you can't do it, but you do have to be a little selfish and say, hey, this is my life and this is what I want to do. And so you kind of sometimes have to go where you need to go for that. Like I had to be willing to leave my family and all of my friends and start a brand new life in Northern California. And thankfully it worked out for me. But it wasn't the easiest thing I had to do, but I'm glad I did it. And I'm not saying like break up with your girlfriend and go find another job, but you got to be open to those opportunities as they present themselves. And if the relationship can work, you can make it work. And if it doesn't, well, a lot of people had a lot of relationships in the early 20s that they don't have anymore. It's just kind of what happens. So I know that's not necessarily the best piece of advice because you want to hear love conquers all, but at the end of the day, you seem to be very passionate about this. You got to go where that passion's going to lead you.
No, I think I'm in the same boat as you, with that mindset and everything. I just, if I do move forward and get this job in another province, and I don't want to drag her along with me. That's just going to lead to resentment and a bunch of other things. Yeah. So, yeah.
And that's the thing is like, you see this happen a lot. I've seen people, I've had friends that have moved in and moved and left. And it's a difficult spot to put people in because what they're really not saying is, hey, maybe this relationship has run its course and maybe we need to move on or maybe just revisit it later in life. But that's all. It's not really a popular thing to be able to say because most movies and TV shows are like, oh, they're going to race to the airport and jump on the plane. But the reality is, you maybe you guys are great and you love each other and you just got to move on sometimes. That's just what happens. But I think the answer to your question. I think you're just looking for some positive validation from the 43-year-old who's been there and done that.
Yeah, Barb, you moved from Canada to Texas, and like there wasn't necessarily a relationship on that I remember there, but like, do you have any insight on this?
It's interesting. I actually was watching this creator's video the other day about how they lived in New York City and they were unhappy. They always felt stressed. They always felt kind of on edge. They never really felt like fully settled. And then they moved, I think, somewhere in California, somewhere warm. And they're like, I finally feel like myself. And it's just like, you have no idea the toll of living in a place that you don't want to be could take on you mentally, physically, emotionally, everything like that. And so I totally understand the thing of feeling not yourself in a place and not feeling comfortable and that you could really grow in a place. And I think like you got to always put yourself first. And I think in this situation, I'm curious also like what is keeping her there? Like what is her reasoning for not wanting to move back and for wanting to stay in the place you are at?
Yeah, so this is a place she's wanted to live in since she was a kid. This has been technically her dream to live in the area where we are right now. We're in a smaller town, but she wants to move to Victoria, BC, or Vancouver or something like that. And yeah, I just looking at everything, I just don't know how I can grow here as a broadcaster. There's just not too many open jobs in my field. And, if I move back to Ontario, I just feel like I have more opportunities with other cities like Toronto or Kingston or even going over to Quebec and Montreal and stuff like that. So
yeah, I guess
that's where I'm coming from.
I guess you're in broadcast, right? Because Vancouver has a shit ton of production, but it's mostly like
they do, yeah.
So why not try?
Have you?
Go ahead, Barb. Sorry.
Yeah, have you tried applying for or like looking at the job market in Vancouver or Victoria or anything like that? Like, have you actually like looked into that, or are you kind of like, I want to go back to Ontario and that's kind of what I'm set on?
So I guess it's a bit of a mix of everything. I've kind of been looking around for the past 3 months. I want to say like this. I'm not against moving to Vancouver or Victoria. Like that's not, something that's off the cards or whatever. It's just, I've been looking for 3 months. And I work at a radio station, and all the other stations that I am looking at, all their afternoon hosts and midday hosts and stuff like that are all syndicated from Toronto. Like they're not hiring.
Got it.
In
So that's
BC.
Toronto's like the
they're
New
hiring
York,
all these people from another province. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Toronto's
yeah,
pretty cool. Pretty good
Toronto
city.
is really cool, man. I lived an hour away from there. It was awesome.
Yeah, they got good comedy in
city.
Toronto. I don't know. That's tough. I mean, again, I think it's really hard, especially when you've just graduated and you're dating someone, because I lost the block of the wall. All you have in like your future is each other, and so I feel like you always get to a point where Kevin will wiggle the cord. It'll be fine. Oh, it came back. Sorry, you're probably like, what the fuck is Nick talking about if you're listening to this? It's so tough when you're in your early 20s because you have each other and that's like your life. But what you have to realize is you got to go find where you're going to be for the next 10 years. And if that's Ontario, if that's Toronto, then you got to go to Toronto.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. A lot of people in Canada in the chat right now, a lot of hot takes. And I don't understand any of it. People are saying Vancouver sucks, Ontario sucks, BC sucks. Yeah. Vancouver's terrible. Someone said BC rocks. I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know where the hell Michigan is versus Detroit. So who the hell knows what's going on? I know, they're in the same place. Yeah. Milwaukee and Michigan, right? Is that what
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Jesus, too many M's in America.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Thank you.
Keep us
Thank you
updated.
for calling in. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. And really appreciate everything you've done. So thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you to everybody that has called in on this lovely Thursday evening. We have had so much fun with all of you. You have kept the phone lines busy and bumping. Tim Geddes, it's time to say goodbye. Take us away, big dog.
It is. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here at Love, Sex, and Stuff. This is our last episode. We promised 4 of these this year. We did all 4. Very happy to be going out with a bang with Barbara Dunkelman. Barb, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you?
They can find me all over the internet, Tim. I'm everywhere. I'm behind you. I'm watching on your Twitters and your Instagrams. But no, I'm over at Rooster Teeth doing all kinds of fun stuff there. The big project we are working on right now is Tales from the Stinky Dragon, which is our D&D actual play podcast. It's fully edited, composed, voice cast, everything. It's kind of like a radio play. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. It's one of our favorite things we've ever worked on, and we have a show that's adapted from the podcast called Stinky Dragon Adventures, which is a full-length puppet show. It's free to watch on stinkydragonpod.com, so come on over, check it out. And yeah, that's the big thing. That's in the cards for 2024 for your girl.
Love that. Go support Barb in any way possible. We are big fans of her. We love her so much. It was great catching up with you. It's been way too long. So this was
I miss you
nice.
guys.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll run into each other next year. But until then, thank you all for hanging out. Have an amazing night, year, week, whatever you want to do. Just be good to each other and yourselves.
Happy holidays.
Love you. Goodbye.